out on the sea, searching for something that really found me. I didn't know it, but it drew me to it. Soon I was full of its passion in me. I'm Italo Labignan. 40 years I've fished the world and have learned it's not just about catching the fish, the size of the fish, or the numbers. It's about appreciating every sunrise and sunset, the smell of the sea, savoring the culture and the fish with friends. Here's the catch. It's the total experience. Presented by Bear Reels, versatile, precision, handcrafted hybrid center pins. Hooked on MFS, quality fishing tackle. Seabreeze boats, tame the oceans, and Farlow's Caribbean cuisine with a southern twist. There's a saying, variety is the spice of life, and I can't agree more. Today, I've decided to give my legs a workout and enjoy the peacefulness of fishing from a kayak. This is no ordinary kayak. It's the Santa Cruz Raptor G2 that has a wide and stable stern, missile-like tapered bow. That is where I get close to the water, nature, and fish. And I don't necessarily have to use paddles. I can use the propulsion system and get a workout at the same time. We've got a nice warm day. I'm on a big shallow flat, and I'm here cruising with my Santa Cruz Raptor G2 kayak. And I'm just looking for a variety of fish on the flats. It's not a bad start. Look at what a nice spotted sea trout. You know, when you're fishing out of a kayak, the fish doesn't have to be huge. I'm gonna see if I can unhook this guy without the pliers, because he wasn't hooked that bad. And it's gonna be released in just a moment. Man, he's got the one hook in him, pretty good. This guy's little, so we wanna release him. Just over here. And there he goes. When you're kayak fishing, you don't have the luxury of blasting off from one spot to another. So you choose your fishing areas wisely. To start off with, I've decided to fish some flats where I know I have a chance of catching a mixed bag. Kayak fishing doesn't require a lot of gear. For flats fishing, I take 2 spinning outfits, a small tackle box, a couple of bags of soft plastic baits and jigs, and of course my pliers, and that's it. Sometimes less is more, and in the case of kayak fishing, that's true. Spotted trout are one of my favorite fish to target from a kayak. They love to feed on a rising tide on shallow grass flats that have plenty of food. They strike well, fight scrappy, and are delicious eating. It may seem like I'm drifting out here in the middle of nowhere, but what I'm trying to do is cast on this flat to where I see the white spots, light and dark. So that's where there's a little bit of a pocket, like you see one here just to the right of me. I cast past it, and then I try to bring my lure right over it. So they're not as easy to see from a kayak, but they're still visible. So I look around. So I mean, the fish can be anywhere. And every once in a while I pick up some debris, like you can see here. I gotta pull it off. But I'm looking for the white spots. It's like target casting here. Because a lot of times the trout will be right on the edges, on the eelgrass, and they can see when something crosses that light-colored area, and they just shoot out and grab it. We're looking for some of the bigger ones. I wonder if this is a bigger one on a spoon. Come on, where are you? Show yourself. Hopefully he's hooked good. Oh yeah, I think it's 15 inches. All I gotta do is get it in the kayak. What a difference in strength from getting those little guys. Tell you what, it's so nice to be so close to the water. We got a perfect day for kayaking. Yeah, nice trout. That's a nice spotted trout. Definitely a keeper. Just have to get it in the boat without the net. with my line all looped around. See if I can hold it up for you. Isn't that a nice trout? That's what I'm looking for out here on the flats. But you know what? I don't mind getting those mackerel and some of the other fish. That is a pretty fish. You know, back home in Canada, the guys just started trout fishing. Opener was last weekend. And here I am getting sea trout on the flats. And it is amazing. I'm out here just off the shallow banks because we've seen some pelicans diving, and I'm casting one of those Lunker City jigs, and I've got what looks like a nice mackerel, a Spanish mackerel on. I had it on for quite a bit before we were able to capture the footage, so he's kind of done fighting, but let's see here. Come on. Nice Spanish, full of teeth. Because we're fishing on the flat, I don't have a wire leader on because I was going more for trout. I'm going to try to just get the pliers on there and get that hook off. Look isn't that a nice Spanish? Good eating size, but we're going to be releasing this guy. We're just having fun. There he goes. Now look, normally I don't cast plastic grubs for Spanish mackerel, so guess what? That guy's history. I'm going to put another one on. This one is called a shaker. It's made by Lunker City. Just going to put this in my pocket so it doesn't
Spanish mackerel can adapt easy from feeding offshore over deep water and also moving into really shallow water that's just a few feet deep. When the tide is right, I have caught lots just casting a jig, plastic grub, or even a small spoon right over the shallow flats.
This is the 3.5 inch. So for some reason in saltwater, the bright color like the chartreuse works really well. I'm just going to make sure this is zipped properly, so that if it does fall overboard, it'll float. So the key is to get the grub on so that it's right up the middle. You don't want to really have a bend on it. So I'm just pushing it up, not too far. Trying to get it right in the middle before it pierces through. Kind of hard when you're rock and rolling out here. It's pretty well in the center. I'm going to push it on that grub barb, just up a bit. There, it's put on good. Now, I'm going to be fan casting here. I don't know if you can see in the distance. We've got a couple pelicans, and the water's like mottled. It's lighter over there. Oh, there's the pelicans diving right behind me. I might have to zip over there in a minute. But all I'm doing is just swimming these jigs, casting it out, and it's kind of like a fast swimming action. I'm not really letting it drop to the bottom. And if there's a sea trout, which is what I'm going for, or a bluefish or a mackerel, you can see the action in the water. It actually has a nice, really top water action. Swimming action, it's like a swimming bait fish. There. So all I got to do is cover water, because this is a huge flat. And I can actually see the Gulf of Mexico from here, right in line with me. So we're talking about big waters. But this kayak's so nice because it can handle any water conditions.
I had some fun on the flats, but you know what? It's time to head offshore and see if I can find some barracuda. Barracuda love to feed over reefs. One of the best ways to get them to strike is to either troll or cast a cuda tube over them. In my case, I'm pedaling as fast as I can to get them to smash my lure. And when I'm not pedaling, I'm casting as far as I can and reeling in as fast as I can.
You know, it's fun fishing out of a kayak inshore and also offshore, as long as you have the right conditions. To me, if it's under 3-foot waves, it's no problem fishing out of a kayak. Oh, that fish really smashed it. Mac's using a jetty rod for this kind of fishing. This one was made for me by Dante Soriente. He's up in Jersey. He has magic tail lures and jigs. He's the guy. Okay, nice cuda. Woo! So he actually made this rod, and the reason I'm using a long rod is because you can work it around the kayak. So I've got the drag crank now pretty good. You can see that cuda tube in the side of its mouth. Got hooked perfectly, so it shouldn't be too hard to get the hook out. It's a nice size cuda. You know, the nice thing about the cuda tube is that's all wire down below. Look at those teeth. Just
As long as it doesn't jump in the kayak, I'll be okay. Yeah, it's salt water. So as I was saying, the long rod's nice because I can go around the kayak. This one is about 10 feet long, and it's got a lot of spine. Hopefully it won't rip that CUDA tube. I've got to be patient here and make sure that it's completely thawed out. I don't even care if it throws the hook at this point. So I'm just going to wait a little bit, then I'm going to get my pliers. So having a long rod is really nice whether you're casting or trolling with these CUDA tubes. And I don't know why they hit such a bright tube, but they love it. Let me see here. I don't know if this guy's ready. I'm going to try just holding behind the head, kind of like we do up north. And make sure that rod is safe. Can you see those teeth? Look at those chompers. This guy does not need to go to the dentist. And hopefully, you whistle right in the side of the mouth, that'll just pop out. Perfect. You know what? That's a good release. He kind of flew out of my hands. So look, this is probably one of the best lures you can use if you're targeting CUDA, especially in the nearshore reefs and even offshore. A lot of times you'll be fighting a fish out, and what happened here, you know, you'll hook up like a blue runner with another jigging lure, and that'll bring the barracuda in close. I made one of these for a friend of mine. His name is Jeff Wood. He's just off in Cuba, actually, fishing this week. And he's been sending me pictures, and they've literally demolished the CUDA tube. He just has little chunks on it. So it's a very simple lure to make. It's on a heavy leader. It's got probably a 1/4 ounce weight at the front. I think it's like an egg sinker. And then it's just got one treble hook, and it's been crimped on. And all you do is cast it and literally reel it in real quick or troll it. It works really well for CUDA. I'm gonna see if I can get another one. Yay, baby. Let me see ya. Such a big hit, hasn't come up. I got a feeling this one might be bigger than the other one. You know, I've seen a lot of guys on the West Coast fishing like off of California, Washington, Oregon, and you'll see them kayak fishing, and they'll go out even in rougher water. I don't know if this guy's ready yet. It's not big, but it sure fought hard. And, you know, I'm amazed at how stable kayaks can be. There. Look at nice CUDA to get from a kayak. Just gonna try to get that hook out. I'm gonna give you a look. It might fly out of my hands. I don't really want to put my hands in its gill, but look at, isn't that a nice barracuda to get out of a kayak? It's a little awkward to hold this guy. Let me try this way. How's that? Isn't that a beautiful scene? I'm gonna put it in the water. I had it out for a little bit, so hopefully it'll revive. I can't hold on to it. This guy is ready to go. It's kind of awkward because he's going backwards. Just want him to get his breath, and then I'm gonna release him. Come on, CUDA. Look at him going slowly. Go down. Man, these things hit like a ton of bricks, and you never know when you're gonna get one to come up to hit. It's really funny. I've been working the same area. You can hear that drag scream, and every once in a while one will come up. It's kind of like trying to get him to strike. Tell you what, it's a challenge trying to control these guys, even with this nice long rod. Still wants to go out. You can see the head shakes, long runs. Come on, beautiful CUDA, come on back. You know, if you want to up your fishing game, get yourself a Santa Cruz kayak. And if you're anywhere near saltwater, get out here and try some offshore fishing and also some fishing, you know, on the shallow flats. It's amazing. I'm gonna let off the drag a little bit. Come on, haven't really seen this guy yet. That water is so clear, I should be able to see down like 30, 40 feet. Are they good fighters or what? I love this. You know, it's worth doing this for hours. Just to hook one of these fish and to have it scream drag off like that. You know, I'm actually quite comfortable in this kayak. You can see the seat. Oh, nice CUDA. Wow, that's a nice trophy fish. This is the oh boy part. Don't have a gaff, don't have a net. Just got my hand, mano a mano. I don't know that this guy's ready yet. What's interesting about these CUDA, they don't really inhale these things. Man, I can barely get my hands around this guy's back of his head. Look at. You know, you want to be careful doing this. I've handled a lot of big fish, especially with big teeth, but you got to be careful. Look, isn't that a brilliant cuda? I'm just going to get my breath for a second, and then I'm going to just slowly lower it down. There. I don't think this guy's going to take long. What a magnificent fight. He peeled off so much line. I'm trying to get my hand back, and I don't know if I can or not, to the tail, because I want him to revive, because this guy's a trophy. He might take off out of my hand. Let's see here. There, got him by the tail. And I'm just going to let him revive. He doesn't really have a lot of stress marks. You know, once they're under stress, they lose that back color, that kind of dark gray. So this guy's in good shape. I think he's over 3 feet. Can you see how brilliant that silver is? Just going to stretch him out, and I think he's just going to swim away real slowly. Once he keeps himself vertical, that means that he's got enough energy. But he gave such a good fight. Look at, you know what? He's going to be fine. You know, I've been using the propulsion system, which is really nice, but I always have the paddles with me just in case, you know, so they're out of the way. They're very simple to use, and sometimes the propulsion system is good, but if you want to make a tight turn for one reason or another, you can't really make a tight turn. With the paddle, of course, you can, you know, brake and go back and forward and so on. But what I really like about the kayak, there's a few features. One, it's a very comfortable seat. So it's a sit on top, and I'm actually elevated up off the water. The other thing, you see that little thing back there? That's the rudder. Right now it's deployed. I have the little switch right here to the left of my leg. So let's see if you can see me turn the rudder. If I go one way, that's to the left. On my port, this is starboard. See how easy it is for me to control it? You hardly even see it back there. What I'm doing is going forward if I want to go port, and I go right if I want to go starboard. So it's a really handy system. And then the other thing is that the propulsion system, is going to move my tube lure, my pliers here. If you can see from there, it can be very easily removable. So all I have to do is undo these little thumb, they're like screws here, and I'll just show you here how easy it is to take it out. There's the propulsion system right there. So talk about a nice system. So I can use it, not use it. And they actually have a cover that fits where the propulsion system base is, that if you don't want to use the propulsion system, you can just use it. So I just undo those screws and put the locking mechanism down, tighten them down, and I'm ready to go again. To me, it's a really neat way that it's laid out. The other thing you'll see, it's got this railing system on both sides. So if you want to add accessories, you know, today I'm not really targeting, you know, specific bottom or weeds like in fresh water, or structure that I need a sonar. I'm not using bait. You could put like an actual bait cutting table here. Your sonar, extra rod holders. The kayak comes equipped with 2 rod holders, and I've got them behind me. See if I can get my pliers off my treble hook. That's funny. So I've got my rod holder right here, and even blind, I can feel it where it is with my hand, and I can put my rod in there. So because I'm using one presentation right now, you know, if I was casting for like spotted sea trout, I'd have one rod rigged up with like a spoon or a swim bait, and I'd have one with maybe a lure, like a crankbait, like a mirror lure. But in this case, this is the lure right here. And you know what? I'm surprised that they haven't ripped it apart yet. There's actually some cuts. See the cuts? If I pull it apart, can you tell it's an experienced lure? See those cuts on it? That's from all the teeth marks. Eventually, chunks will come off, but it's fine right now. So this is great. Okay, a few more casts. This guy's starting to get old. Plus, it's not just about the fishing, you know? It's being out here in this beautiful, fresh air. And look how the color of the water. It's beautiful. Closed captioning brought to you by Leguano, natural barefoot technology for every adventure.
Kayak fishing is fun, but now it's time to enjoy my catch. Tonight, I'm going to enjoy fresh caught spotted sea trout prepared on the barbecue. Sea trout have soft scales and spines, flaky white meat, and my favorite way to prepare them is whole. The first thing I do is scale each fish carefully with a scaler. Next, I remove the dorsal and anal fin by using the tip of my knife and make a cut right down to where the spines meet the body. I carefully use the knife to hold the rays and literally rip them out. Next, I gut and gill the fish, rinse it well under running water, and they're ready to season. I preheat the barbecue at around 200 Fahrenheit. While it's heating up, I like to use a light seasoning of salt, pepper, roasted garlic, and peppers, inside and out on each side of the trout.
Next, I take my grill mat and slightly coat it with a little bit of butter, just for added taste. I place each trout on the grill mat and let the fish cook for about 15 minutes. And then I gently turn each trout over and let them cook for about another 10 minutes. I use a spatula and gently remove each fish and place it on a platter, and I'm ready to enjoy it. You know, I really enjoyed myself fishing out in the Santa Cruz kayak, fishing the flats and some of the open water for a variety of species of fish. But this is one of the highlights also. We had great surface conditions for me to use the kayak. Even though it got a little bit rough where the tide was ripping through some of the channels, I was still able to control it no problem. And man, am I impressed with how fast that propulsion system works. It was easy for me to change from trolling to casting and even propelling myself and casting and actually working the lure at the same time. And just getting the variety of fish from a kayak, being so close to the water, it's a lot of fun. But look, it's not just about catching the fish, it's not just about kayaking. Here's the catch. It's the whole experience, not just being on the water and catching fish, but look at, now I get to enjoy a beautiful spotted sea trout that's been grilled just right. I can see the seasonings inside the cuts that I made. And look at this, it's gonna be my first bite. I can't wait. Look at that nice meat. It's not too dry. Amazing. You know what? I love eating fish. I could eat fish 3 times a day. Sometimes I do if I'm not on the water. But these trout are so mild. The flesh is so light that grilling them lightly with a seasoning like that is perfect. And because I took out those fins, the dorsal fin and the anal fin, and trimmed off the pectoral fins, there's no little bones for me to bother with. So all I take is the meat right off the vertebrae. Look at, there's the vertebrae right there. And even as I work my way up the fillet, there's nothing, no bones for me to worry about. It's just a clean vertebrae because I took all the other bones out. This is so good. Wow, unbelievable. One day I wandered out on the sea, searching for something that really found me. I didn't know it, but it drew me to it. Soon I was full of its passion in me. I'm Italo Labignan. 40 years I've fished the world and have learned it's not just about catching the fish, the size of the fish, or the numbers. It's about appreciating every sunrise and sunset, the smell of the sea, savoring the culture and the fish with friends. Here's the catch. It's the total experience. Presented by Bear Reels, versatile, precision, handcrafted hybrid center pins. Hooked on MFS, quality fishing tackle. Seabreeze boats, tame the oceans, and Farlow's Caribbean cuisine with a southern twist.